We have all seen it. The manager who can't manage. The executive who makes disastrous decisions, yet somehow keeps climbing the corporate ladder. The leader who talks in a cascade of confident buzzwords, but produces nothing of value. You see it in the office. You hear it in the news. You feel it in the slow decay of institutions that were once great. A shadowy pattern, a destructive force that seems to defy all logic. The relentless, baffling, and infuriating rise of the incompetent. You might have dismissed it as bad luck, office politics, or just the way things are. But it is none of those. It is a predictable and systematic process, governed by hidden psychological laws that most organizations will never admit are true. Today, we pull back the curtain on this phenomenon. We will explore the terrifying principle that ensures people rise to their level of incompetence, and the cognitive flaw that makes them blind to their own limitations. This isn't just a theory. It's a diagnosis of the modern world. This is the hidden architecture of incompetence. The feeling is universal. You are a skilled technician, a master of your craft. You understand the intricate details of your work, and you perform it with diligence and expertise. You see a problem, and you know, with deep certainty, how to solve it. But your manager, the person promoted to lead you, doesn't. They propose solutions that are inefficient, outdated, or outright counterproductive. They fail to grasp the core issues, focusing instead on superficial metrics and meaningless jargon. They are a master of meetings, a connoisseur of corporate platitudes, but a novice in the very field they are supposed to command. Yet, they hold the power. They approve the budgets, they set the direction, and they get the credit when things, by some miracle, go right. And when they fail, as they so often do, they don't fall. They fail upwards. They are transferred to a new department, promoted to a higher, more abstract role where their incompetence is even harder to measure. Meanwhile, the truly competent, the ones who actually create the value, are left behind, their insights ignored, their morale slowly eroding. This scenario is not an anomaly. It is the default state of many, if not most, large organizations. It is a quiet plague that drains innovation, crushes spirits, and leads entire industries down a path of mediocrity. Why? Why does this happen over and over again? The answer isn't found in a business textbook. It's found in a profound observation about human systems, a concept so simple and yet so devastating that it changes the way you see the world. In 1968, a Canadian educator named Dr. Lawrence J. Peter published a book that was initially seen as satire, but was, in fact, one of the most astute sociological observations of the 20th century. He called his theory the Peter Principle. The principle states this: in a hierarchy, every employee tends to rise to their level of incompetence. Let that sink in. It's not that some people are incompetent. It's that the very system of promotion is designed to eventually place everyone in a role they cannot handle. Here is how it works. Imagine a brilliant software engineer. She is a phenomenal coder, fast, elegant, and innovative. She consistently delivers the best work in her team. Because of her excellent performance as an engineer, she is promoted to senior engineer. She excels there too, mentoring junior coders and solving complex problems. The company, seeing her success, decides to reward her again. They promote her to engineering manager. But the job of a manager is fundamentally different. It's not about writing code. It's about managing budgets, handling interpersonal conflicts, navigating corporate politics, and strategic planning. These are skills she has never developed. Her genius as a coder does not translate to being a good manager. Suddenly, her performance plummets. She is disorganized. She is a poor communicator. Her team becomes unhappy. She has reached her level of incompetence. And here is the terrifying genius of the Peter Principle. What happens next? Is she demoted? Fired? In most organizations, that would be an admission that the management made a mistake in promoting her. So, she stays. She remains, a permanent fixture in a role she is not good at, becoming a bottleneck for the talented engineers she now manages. The company has lost its best engineer and gained a terrible manager. In a single move. The Peter Principle reveals that our hierarchies are not meritocracies of future potential, but reward systems for past performance. The ladder of success is a trap. Each rung requires a different set of skills, but we climb it based only on our mastery of the previous one. Eventually, we reach a rung we are not equipped for, and there, the climbing stops. Over time, this process fills the middle and upper layers of any organization with people who are, by definition, incompetent in their roles. They were heroes at their last job, but are now liabilities in their current one.
But the Peter Principle only explains half of the equation. It explains the systemic flaw that promotes people into incompetence. It doesn't explain why the incompetent individual so often accepts the promotion with such confidence. Why don't they see their own limits? This is where a second, more insidious psychological flaw comes into play, the Dunning-Kruger Effect. In 1999, psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger conducted a series of studies that uncovered a profound cognitive bias. They found that people with low ability in a skill are not only bad at that skill, they are also bad at recognizing their own lack of skill. Their incompetence robs them of the very metacognitive ability to see how incompetent they are. This is the famous peak of Mount Stupid. When someone learns just a little bit about a subject, their confidence skyrockets. They don't know enough to realize how much they don't know. They mistake their sliver of knowledge for the entire landscape. These are the people who confidently volunteer for tasks they can't handle, who speak with authority on subjects they barely understand, and who eagerly accept promotions into roles they are woefully unprepared for. They don't feel like frauds. They genuinely believe they are qualified. Their ignorance is the source of their confidence.
Meanwhile, the truly competent often experience the opposite: imposter syndrome. The more you learn about a subject, the more you become aware of its vastness and complexity. Experts are acutely aware of the limits of their own knowledge. This can make them seem less confident, more hesitant. They question themselves. They see all the potential pitfalls and complexities that the Dunning-Kruger individual is blind to. So, you have a system, the Peter Principle, that wants to promote people based on their last job's performance. And you have two types of candidates. 1. The dangerously confident but incompetent person who loudly proclaims their suitability for the role. And 2. The quietly competent expert who is more cautious and aware of the challenges ahead. Who do you think gets the promotion? The Dunning-Kruger effect is the fuel for the Peter Principle's engine. It ensures a steady supply of confident but incapable candidates who are willing and eager to climb the ladder until they reach the position where they can do the most damage. In the past, this process was slow. Today, it is accelerated by the very structure of our modern world. Our corporate and social systems are increasingly designed to reward the appearance of competence over the substance of it. Think about it. We live in a world of key performance indicators, KPIs, sales targets, engagement metrics, quarterly reports. These are almost always backward-looking. They measure how well you performed your current job. An organization's leadership looks at a spreadsheet, sees that an employee has excelled in their defined role, and offers a promotion. The system rarely asks the most important question: does this person possess the entirely new set of skills required for the next role? This creates an environment where employees are incentivized to become masters of their current box, not to develop the broad, adaptable skills needed for leadership. The system doesn't reward deep thinking or careful preparation for the future. It rewards the short-term, measurable success of the present. Social media amplifies this to a frightening degree. It is a stage where confidence is currency. The algorithm doesn't reward nuance, doubt, or careful consideration. It rewards bold, simple, and often outrageously incorrect statements that are delivered with unwavering certainty. It is, in effect, a global engine for the Dunning-Kruger Effect, creating legions of self-proclaimed experts who are celebrated for their confidence, not their competence. These systems, corporate, political, and social, create a perfect ecosystem for incompetence to flourish. They systematically filter out the cautious and the thoughtful, while creating a fast lane for the blissfully unaware. The consequences of this are not trivial. When an organization is run by people operating at their level of incompetence, it doesn't just stagnate, it begins to decay. First, innovation dies. True innovation requires questioning the status quo, admitting you don't have all the answers, and taking calculated risks. Incompetent leaders, often insecure and protective of their position, fear this. They reject new ideas because they don't understand them. They enforce rigid processes and bureaucracy not to ensure quality, but to create the illusion of control. Second, morale plummets. Talented employees, the A players, will not tolerate working for incompetent B players for long. They become frustrated, disengaged, and eventually they leave. This creates a brain drain, where the most competent people exit the system, leaving an even higher concentration of mediocrity behind. The organization becomes a hollow crown, an impressive structure on the outside, but empty of the talent that once made it great. Finally, catastrophic decisions are made. An incompetent leader, buoyed by the Dunning-Kruger effect, is unable to see the iceberg ahead. They surround themselves with yes men because they perceive critical feedback as a personal attack. They lead their teams, their companies, and sometimes even their nations, straight into disaster, all while confidently believing they are making the right choice. The cost is measured in lost jobs, failed projects, and broken trust. So, are we doomed? Is civilization destined to be a pyramid scheme where everyone rises to a position of uselessness? Not necessarily, but the solution isn't easy. It requires a conscious rebellion against our own psychological wiring and the systems that exploit it. For us as individuals, the antidote is intellectual humility. It's the courage to know the limits of your own knowledge. It's understanding your circle of competence and having the wisdom to say no to a role you are not ready for. In a world that celebrates blind confidence, admitting "I don't know" is a revolutionary act. It's not a sign of weakness. It's the ultimate sign of strength and self-awareness. It is the beginning of true wisdom. For organizations, the solution requires a radical rethinking of how we measure success. Instead of promoting people based solely on past performance, we must hire and promote based on their demonstrated skills and potential for the next role. This means using situational interviews, job simulations, and trial periods. It means creating a culture where feedback is a gift, not a threat. A culture where it is safe to be wrong, to experiment, and to learn. It means valuing the quiet competence of the expert over the loud confidence of the fool. The terrifying principle of incompetence is not a law of nature. It is a law of systems, systems that we have designed, and systems that we can change. The Dunning-Kruger effect is not a permanent state. It is a cognitive blind spot that can be illuminated through self-awareness and a commitment to lifelong learning. The world is filled with complex problems that demand our best minds. Yet we have built structures that sideline our best minds in favor of the confidently incompetent. The great struggle of our time is not against a foreign enemy, but against our own ingrained tendency to reward certainty over curiosity and performance over potential. The question Bonhoeffer's theory on stupidity leaves us with is the same one the Peter Principle poses today. Who stands fast? Who resists the comforting allure of intellectual surrender when thinking becomes difficult, uncomfortable, or costly? The answer isn't found in superior intelligence, but in superior character. It's found in the daily choice to remain curious rather than certain, to seek truth rather than comfort, and to think carefully rather than react quickly. So, here is my challenge to you. The next time you see incompetence rewarded, don't just feel frustrated. See the system at work. And in your own life, in your own career, choose the difficult path of intellectual courage. Have you witnessed the Peter Principle in your own life? Share your story in the comments below.